Have you ever thought about being a volunteer camp host? Well, my husband and I did it this summer, and we want to take you along for a day in the life of a volunteer camp host so that you know what it's like and you can decide if it might be something you want to do in the future. We are in the Apache-Sitgreaves National Forest, and we are camp hosting at a place that has numbered campsites but no services. The only thing that you'll find at a campsite here is a fire pit, and that's it. So you are basically boondocking when you're out here, and we find a lot of people leaving a lot of trash, which is not cool. You're supposed to pack it in, pack it out. And we find them building illegal fire pits. We find them camping in areas where it's not allowed, they're not allowed to camp. You have to be at a numbered site, and there's plenty of little nooks and crannies around here where you can actually pull right in to a place that feels like a campsite, but it isn't, because it doesn't have a number and it doesn't have a campfire ring. So that's how people should know that they're not supposed to be camping in an area, but that doesn't stop them. So here comes our pros, cons, and the woes of being a campsite volunteer for the National Forest. We do about 32 hours a week, and it is obviously unpaid because we're volunteers, and we'll tell you what we do on a daily basis. The one good thing about being where we are is that there are no toilets. Actually, there's one pit toilet at the very beginning of our road, but there's other people that actually do the cleaning of those. For us, we thought we weren't going to have to be cleaning any bathrooms. Well, here's the thing. People use the outdoors like a bathroom, so we do a lot of picking up of toilet paper and human waste and things that we didn't quite expect before we volunteered. We knew what our duties were, but we just weren't sure about what we should really expect. Here's one of the campsites that's been vacated. What's the worst thing you ever found at a campsite when you were picking, baby doll?
Me?
Yeah.
Piles of poop and toilet paper.
Piles of poop and toilet paper
yeah.
is the worst thing that we found while we were camp hosting.
And it's relatively common.
Isn't that sad? It is common. There's a plastic bag out there, so
oh yeah, it's
we
probably poop. There's some poop. I'm not touching it. Yeah.
Yes. See, this is what people leave for us. That is human waste, and so we have to pick that up and with our pickers, double bag it,
so
throw it in the bag. It's disgusting. So we need to educate people on how to get rid of their human waste when they are at a campsite. The amazing thing about all of that is this is the first campsite in the row, and right back there are
show them the path right there.
they are pit toilets. From this campsite, there is a path that you walk down and go directly to the pit toilet. It's not very far. So it's amazing that people will still do what they do and be complete slobs and leave literal human crap at a campsite for somebody else to pick up. If you're going to do that, instead of just leaving it for somebody to pick up later, you should be burying your waste as directed by the Forest Service, or packing it out with you in the rest of your garbage. Not super hard to do. One of my favorite things about camp hosting is welcoming people to the rim and telling them about Bradley. He is our resident elk. He is a wild elk. He hangs out here all summer long, and then as hunting season begins, he disappears. Last year when he disappeared, I thought he wasn't coming back. I thought one of the hunters got him. I was sick to my stomach because Bradley is just an amazing creature. He doesn't hurt anyone. He comes close by to people and campsites, but he's just inquisitive and he minds his own business, and he'll, sit there and eat on the grass while, you watch him, and he's a gentle giant. He's just amazing. One of the funnest things is to watch people that you told about Bradley in the middle of the street with their cameras because they finally got a glimpse of Bradley and they're taking pictures and videos. So that's a super cool thing. We've had so many lost dogs this summer. It is just so sad, and people think that their dogs are going to act the same out here in the wilderness as they do at home in the city, and that's just not the case. So oftentimes they get lost, and sometimes we can't find them and they're gone forever. There are other dogs in the area, and you never know for sure how they're going to react to one another. We also had a really scary experience with Bradley, our friendly elk, because a dog that was not on a leash began charging Bradley, and Bradley at first was just kind of standing there and not responding. And as the dog continued to kind of antagonize Bradley, Bradley started getting a little upset. So we had about 20 people around with the dog's owner trying to calm the dog down and entice the dog to come over and get away from Bradley. And what ended up happening was some people had some apples and carrots and things like that, and they actually enticed Bradley away from the dog, and that's how the owner got the dog back. That could have ended very badly. That dog could have gotten stomped on and killed by Bradley, and or his antlers could have hurt him or the people around. So it's really important that you keep your dog on a leash, even though you think that maybe he or she doesn't need one. We also are really close to Woods Canyon Lake, and there's a bunch of lakes in this area. So we are able to share with people all of the recreational activities that are available in the area, as well as the hiking trails and biking trails and the side-by-side trails and all that kind of stuff. So it's a nice remote area with beautiful scenery, tons of pines. But the best part about our area is actually being right on the rim and having the magnificent views of the valley below. Sunday afternoons are a time when a lot of the spaces are cleared out. People that are just coming up for the weekend have left and gone home. And so now it's our job to go check on all the sites, make sure that they're clean, make sure that the campfires are out, and if there is anything that needs to be tended to, then we're going to be doing that today. Here we are, we're driving around, checking out all the campsites and how the campers left the sites. Pete's driving. We are driving our own vehicle, and we do not get any kind of reimbursement for mileage or fuel or anything.
Well, we normally walk or ride our bikes.
We normally do walk.
This
is
some shovel work.
A really long road that we cover, and when there are fires that people don't put out and we need to take down fire pits or douse them with water or whatever, we just can't carry all of that because it's too heavy and too far. So when we need shovels and water to do parts of our job, then we are forced to use our own vehicle for that. Depending on how many campsites have hot fire rings still remaining, we don't know how many gallons of water we're going to need to go through to put everything out. And when you're walking a 4-mile road, it's really tough to carry enough water. You just can't. You just have to keep going back and forth to replenish your water. So instead, that's why we're driving today and why we've got gallons and gallons of water in the bed of the truck so that we can put these fires out like this. Like I said, this one is not super hot, but it definitely is still warm.
This isn't bad at all.
It's not as bad as what we've seen before. But
Well, it's bad enough.
you can see this is what irresponsible campers do in leaving a
I
fire
gotta get some more out of
pit
the truck.
that is, it is still boiling in there. That's a darn hot campfire ring. I wish we could find those people and do something to them. But right now, we have no idea who they are. This is actually one of the most important parts of our job, is to put these hot fire pits out, because it is so easy. You can see how remote it is out here and how dry it is, and it is windy a lot. When you're coming off of the rim, we get some pretty hefty winds, so we don't want embers starting anything, and there's a lot of campfires that people leave and that they don't They don't bother with putting them out fully, and they do cause a lot of forest fires. That's how a lot of human-caused forest fires start. So this is one of the most important parts of our job. You can see as I walked around this campsite how close this fire pit is to all of this natural wide open area, and there is so much dry grass on the ground. It's not that a spark from that would need to start a tree on fire. All it needs to do is start a little bit of grass, and the grass keeps going and going and going, and then eventually the dry dead trees catch, and then you've got an entire forest on fire. So it's important to be a good steward when you come out and use our national forests. Okay, so Pete's back with our next jug of water, and this is what we need to do to drown this fire. It's amazing how much water it actually takes to put these things out when they're left like this. So we're gonna drown it, we're gonna stir it, and make sure we've got nothing left that is hot before we leave this campsite.
Reminds me when I used to mix cement.
Reminds him of mixing cement. Maybe we should get that beer can out of there too.
Yeah, I'm gonna get the picker.
Okay, we're gonna get the picker and we're gonna clean that one. It's amazing how good you can get with these little like clippers, these picker things. I couldn't work these things when we first started volunteer hosting. Eventually I got to the point that I could pick up the tiniest little nail, and I'm getting pretty good at it.
Watch it.
Saw lots of balls. I don't know if they're for people or dogs or what, but there's people that leave balls all over. All right, do a trick. Oh, nice try. Anyway, we're gonna put that ball in the garbage. Big illegal fire pit right here. So
we'll break it up,
but we won't bore you with the details of that. When you are in a campsite, there is only one campfire ring per site. This is the legal fire pit. All the way over here, you're gonna see another fire pit. This is the illegal fire pit. So you can see the distance between these two. I don't know, there might have been several groups that were camping here that didn't know each other, and it's a big enough spot, but for whatever reason, yeah, somebody built that and we need to tear it down. When we find these illegal fire rings, we think to ourselves, okay, so that's one of those people that go, the rules? Yeah. Oh, they don't apply to me. Really? Come on now. The rules should apply to everyone, and everybody should obey the rules just because it's good for the forest and it's good for keeping the forest open. We don't want the National Forest Service to start shutting down these places, and that's what they will do. They have done that in a lot of places across the country because they couldn't keep up with the maintenance, and it is just, there's a lot of manpower that's required to do this kind of thing. So we're happy to volunteer our time for free because we use the forest and we want to give back. But we wish that more people had that same kind of attitude about being a good steward. So if you can help us spread the word, do that. One of the things I really appreciate about our uniforms is that all we do is wear a vest and a hat, and the rest of the clothes that we wear are just our regular street clothes, our regular camping clothes. So that means that we're not stuck doing a bunch of laundry with an official uniform with like shorts or pants and shirts. That's a really nice thing. What do you think, Baby Doll? You like your uniform?
It's just simple. It's a vest and a hat that I sweated through. And
you really did.
Hat saver on there.
You worked hard this
really
summer, and it shows in your hat.
Yeah, that's terrible. So all my other hats are treated with hat saver. This thing. Same age hat. It's totally perfect.
I see.
Amazon. I'm trying to sell a hat saver, but it works.
There is different areas in the forest where you can pretty much go on any dispersed road, and you can camp legally. But here it's kind of the campground-ish thing where the sites are numbered. So We are now at a place that is at the end of the road, and there is no number. This is not a legal site, and some people camped here and they illegally camped and set up an illegal fire pit by just kind of building a fire pit on their own. So now we're here to clean this up. Here is the illegal fire pit. So Pete's just starting to remove the rocks, and then we will clean up all the ashes that are here and just remove the whole fire pit.
Paper, whatever else they got.
Yeah, the toilet paper and the other trash that they've left behind. So we'll be cleaning all of that. Pete got all the rocks out, and now he's picking all the garbage out of the pit, the illegal fire pit here. Once the garbage is picked out, then he will take a shovel and all of the ashes and the remaining burnt logs, he's gonna put those in an area that's outside of this and just kind of try to clean this area up so it doesn't look like it's a place that you can actually camp. Now we're gonna test that and make sure that there's nothing hot here, and there's not this. I'm not sure when they actually had this fire or if they doused it really well.
No, it's been weeks.
But it's definitely all cool, so we don't have to get our water jug out. All right, so we just are walking up to a campsite that looks like it was just
Vacated.
recently vacated campsite. They emptied the fire pit with the ashes from the fire pit and just left a big box of them there, so we need to clean that up. And they also
Cigarette butts.
left cigarette butts, left us a little bit of firewood. Well, we can always use that. That's nice. We're not going to complain about that. Why do people hammer stakes into trees? They probably hung a garbage bag there. You could see the remnants of the garbage bag, which is great for bears and stuff, but that's not really what you're supposed to do. You should be putting like a bungee up there and having something hold it and not actually be pounding something into the trees. This is a really nice spot, nice and big. See distant views of the rim. This is a very busy place in the summertime. People come up here from the Valley of the Sun, Phoenix, where it is well over 100 degrees, come up to the cool pines on the mountain, and we probably are at least 30 degrees on average, cooler up here than in the valley. So it's busy, busy, busy on the weekends, and there is a 14-day limit, and there are a ton of people that actually stay the entire 14 days. We first welcome people to the rim, and we explain what all the rules are, and then we have a sheet where we log just the driver's name, their license plate number, how many people are in their group, and whether or not they have a propane fire pit, because when there are fire restrictions in place, people are allowed to have a propane fire, but they're not allowed to have a regular wood-burning campfire. So we get a lot of people that are really anxious about seeing a campfire when they're not allowed. The other things that we try to explain to people is that they need to camp within the designated area of the site, and that they are responsible to keep the area clean. We also explain the quiet hours are 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. We also explain that there's no shooting allowed. We are in a recreation area, and in the recreation area, there's no shooting, no hunting allowed. Outside of this area, in the other parts of the National Forest, it is allowed. So people aren't necessarily sure where the boundaries are, that kind of thing. We don't have any authority at all. We are sort of the welcoming and the cleanup committee. The people that we report to that are actually paid staff members, they're the people that have the authority to kick people out and do that kind of thing. The one thing that I think I was the most surprised about was how long it will take emergency service personnel to get here. It is a very remote place. So when we call 911, we can't expect that the sheriff or any medic teams could get here real quickly. So you kind of need to be prepared to be out there, and if you don't have, and if you're not hosting in an area where you have good cell coverage, it can be a challenge. We have pretty decent coverage at our site, but we also have Starlink. So no matter how bad the cell signal is, we still can communicate with the outside world, which is a really nice thing. When we welcome people to the Rim, first we announce that we are camp hosts, and we say, hey, camp hosts, welcome to the Rim. That's a pretty easy way to get a smile on somebody's face that is meeting you for the first time as you approach them in a neon yellow vest with reflective tape on it. You know what I'm saying. I can honestly say that I can memorize things, but I don't need to, because I have my cheat sheet. I bring my phone with me and I tell people, hey, I'm new at this. This is the first time that we're camp hosts this year. I want to make sure that I give you all the information you need. And so I'm going to use my cheat sheet. And they're like, okay, fine. So that's how it goes. So I ask them if it's their first time up here, because that gives me an idea of the kinds of things that they might really not know about, kind of the whole newbie thing. Or some people that are a little more seasoned, I'll kind of speed up the talk so they can get to camping. I just keep this little welcome thing in the notes app on my phone, and that way I know it's always with me and I know how to get to it quickly and kind of get through it. I explained to people that there are no services up here, and so they need to make sure that they pack in and pack out all of their trash. Ravens. We've got a lot of ravens and they love garbage. So if you leave trash out and you don't have it covered or secured in some way, and if you leave your campsite, you are very likely to come back to camp and find garbage all over the place. They will be eating, and it looks like a bomb blew up. It's crazy. So you want to make sure that you keep all of your trash in an area that is not accessible to the ravens, and so it avoids a lot of work, a lot of cleanup work that you don't want to have to do later, and we don't want to have to do either. There's a lot of hiking trails around here, and almost all of them are on the All Trails app. So if you have that app, you're in great shape, and if not, there is a map. As soon as you turn off of Forest Road 300 onto 9350, there's a little welcome center sign, and there is a map there with all the trails. When fire restrictions, stage 1 fire restrictions are in effect, that means there's no campfires and there's no use of charcoal, but you can use propane fire pits, and you can cook with propane gas appliances. So propane grills, propane stoves, that kind of thing are all fine. If fire restrictions are not in place, then you're welcome to have campfires. We ask that you keep them small and keep them inside of the rings, and make sure that they are completely out and cool to the touch before you leave camp, even if you're just leaving for the day or if you're leaving after your weekend is over. But carry water and a shovel, and those are on the signs as people come in, so they should know that. Forest Service has quiet hours. They begin at 10 p.m. Oh, they go to 7 a.m. I thought it was 6. Oops. Anyway, that's why I don't go by memory. No fireworks and no target shooting are allowed in this recreation area, so please respect those rules. If you do want to target shoot, there are areas outside of the recreation area that are still within the National Forest that is allowed, and we can give you a map if you need one of those. If you are in any kind of an emergency situation, we do not have the authority to do anything, nor are we equipped or trained to do anything. So please just dial 911, and the local authorities will be here to help you. If you need to get to a spot where you have a cell signal, you can usually find those closer to the rim. Some of the interior spots don't have as good of cell coverage. Just let you know, you are welcome to stay here all 2 weeks. It's a 14-day limit, and after you exceed the 14 days, if you don't leave on your own, you'll be asked to leave. You are in the Apache-Sitgreaves National Forest now. Enjoy yourself for a whole 2 weeks if you'd like. Pick a number, whichever one. It's walk-up only campsite, no reservations required. So go ahead and pick whichever spot that you'd like, and if no one's there, you can set up camp. That's it. So I try to do that a little bit faster when people have been around for a while and I could tell they're like, hurry up, get it over with. But there's other people that actually stop me in the middle of the thing and start asking questions along the way, which is really nice because I'd rather have them feel comfortable up here and have their questions answered. So that's actually really nice when there is an exchange with people instead of just feeling like, we're giving them all the rules. So that's our welcoming committee part of our job. Today is our last official day of the season, and we are going to the summer barbecue. It's all of the people that are volunteer camp hosting in the region that we're in this summer. We'll take you along to the party and we'll let you know about all of the things that we hear from the other hosts while we're at the party.